So sadly, I did not get that building. I lost it. Just a few hours before I was planning to call to make my offer, the other person got it. You know, I should have said, like, hey, if the other person makes an offer, I'll outbid them. But he didn't even like ask. Like, he was just like, nope, sold it. He's like, seriously? Not even gonna like entertain the option of outbidding him? Anyway, so instead of just moping about that, I went around town and I found out that there's really nothing else. Like it's not that a building hasn't been listed, it's just that those buildings don't really exist. This is kind of a shithole town if you want to have a company. So the only other places that are really open are, well, there's really mostly just residential buildings around here. So that only leaves the option of building a workspace. Right here I have a space of 18 feet by 27 feet. But that's a big undertaking for a big shed. So I've been talking with my friends. For instance, I've been talking with the owner of, I believe it's called Mark Landy Construction. Either way, he has like a structural engineering degree. And he's really knowledgeable about all this stuff. And been talking to John, who owns the Red Rooster and whatnot, and looks like I've got a plan. I'm going to build myself a 12 foot by 12 foot shed, brick shed, and it'll have a basement. So it's gonna be like a nice usable workspace, but it'll be a nice little test, little stepping stone to see if I can even, to see if a lot of my opinions of architecture can even be transferable, can even scale up to a big one. And I mean, if I get that going, I'm going to actually, like, I could actually have room, like someday in the future, to then tear down this building and just make like a 30 foot by 20 foot shed. That'd be pretty cool. So here's my 12 foot by 12 foot shed. The bricks are not to scale, just FYI. So it's gonna have a window on the back and the sides. There'll be a small 2 foot by 2 foot window. Each square is 1 foot. On the front, I'm going to experiment with making an arch, and that'll have a door like that. So I actually have another friend who does construction, and he's very knowledgeable with doors. He did the door on the front of the Red Rooster, so I'll probably talk to him. And that's when I'll probably definitely use some of my reclaimed old growth lumber, because that may make a nice solid door. Now, as for the arch, I'm going to copy basically what the brick guys did at the Red Rooster, because they've made some arches that were actually, I believe, a little bit bigger than this, on the front of the porch. Now, this is the design before I had the basement idea. Oh, and one last thing. I'm going to use the dirt to make the yard taller. So that actually means I don't have to dig down as much. And I'm also going to add like dirt going up against the side in the hopes that it stays there, because it would be nice to have the building be kind of cool. Like thermally cool, as well as aesthetically cool. Now, then I decided, you know what? I might as well just build a basement. Now, the basement I would make out of cinder blocks and concrete. So I've been talking about, I've been talking around, and it seems to be that I can probably make a foundation for about $1,000 at the minimum. And then about maybe $400 for the excavator. However, if you remember, me and John, who owns the Red Rooster, had decided, we're talking about renting the excavator again, just finding some reason, because it was so fun. So what we might do is we might split the cost, and I'll let him do a lot of the excavating, and because it sounds fun, and so that's a good way to keep the cost down. I have a concrete, like a floor slash footing laid, and I'm going to use a lot of old pipes and whatnot for the rebar. Then me and Griff, who build the barrel boats with, will make a nice cinder block basement, and I'll have like plastic lining, and I'm going to have a meeting with a couple people to talk about that, but that's like the rough idea. And then on top of that, we'll have the brick made from, let's see, these bricks over here. So these ones will be used for the building. I believe these are from like World War I or so, like maybe 1910, 1920. And so those will be nice and useful. I'm not so sure about the price of the top part, but the way I see it, if I get to here and I fail and just decide not to build the top part, well, then I have a storm shelter and I still have storage. So the idea is the 12 foot by 12 foot basement, which actually be like 11 feet by 11 feet, counting like how much the walls come in, will be nice storage, and then the top can be a workshop. Whenever we rent the excavator, I'm going to use it to dig up all this dirt, like all around here. I'm going to pile it on my neighbor's driveway. Not that neighbor, this neighbor right here, because my neighbor owns this part, because this is the driveway to his property that he bought back there. And so I'm going to dig up a lot of the dirt and keep that separate, and then I'll dig up the clay and keep that separate. Probably clay will go over here. And that way, whenever I'm done, I can put the clay around here to help smooth out the yard, because we're still kind of on a hill here. And if we do that, we might be able to get like a whole foot of extra dirt out of that, so we might not have to dig down as much. I'm thinking of making the 12 foot by 12 foot shed here. I don't want to disrupt any of the trees though, because they're very nice. But yeah, we'll look into that. Like as we're digging, we'll make sure like to see like what like roots we're hitting and whatnot. I'd rather not hit too many big roots, especially on that nice walnut tree over there, because it gives really a nice shade for my yard. But yeah, so we're gonna have some fun with that. And I figure I'll probably pile up a bunch of dirt on the sides of the shed, like maybe even a couple feet up, because first of all, it would be a shame to make it level and then the dirt just kind of sinks in as it condenses. But I think it actually be nice to have the dirt kind of come up a little bit, because that'll help it keep cool, thermally cool, as well as aesthetically cool. Now, as for the corners, I think I'm going to add reinforcement and like a little bit like that. So that might actually make it look quite snazzy too. And this is not to scale, but imagine these further apart. It's kind of what it'll look like. And as for mounting the roof, because we have tornadoes here, and I might want to have this maybe even be like a storm shelter if I can. I'll have these steel plates going in, so I can have that several layers below the roof, and have really nice long bolts going up to the roof. So they're really anchored in really nice and hard. And I'll probably use like 1/2 inch steel. I'm not sure though. I'll use whatever I find. So yeah, that's the idea so far. I think I'm gonna make a nice little shed that'll give me about what, 120 square feet of storage space in the bottom, and then 120 square feet of working space in the top. And hopefully, because it has a basement, I can have like a nice little air circulation, so it is nice and cool in there. Also have a window, so I can have a window unit if need be. And so yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing right now, and I'm talking a very short time span. Like I'm gonna go talk to a couple concrete spreading businesses and see what they cost, and then I don't know, might even start like digging sometime in the next couple weeks. But I'm gonna do my research, and here's the point where I'd like to ask you guys for help. If you can, and if you want to, maybe try to support me more on Patreon so I can help fund this, because so far, the past year or so, I've been slowly losing money. I've been chipping away my savings, and that is not a healthy long-term solution, because that's even with me delaying buying things that I need for projects. Like, you want to know why I haven't done the rocket project, you know, like really started on that? Because the regulators that I want are kind of expensive, and if I just buy everything, I would just burn through my savings, and I'm not making enough to even really pay for that. So my project has to be really drawn out if I don't make much money. So it would be really nice, it'd be a really healthy long-term solution if I could get more help from Patreon, because if I didn't get any more help and I made this shed, I probably couldn't buy anything for my channel for 2 years, because like I'd have to go on like lockdown just to like stop letting money go out to the channel. Because I mean, when you're making only like a couple $100s a month, that's barely enough to live off of. So yeah, if you want to help if you want to help these videos, right now will be a very good time to have some financial support. And honestly, I especially value stable support. Like $1 a month is far better than $12 once a year, because I mean, it's easy to give, like, well, I don't know, like if someone's consistently giving a little bit, I like the consistency. I know that I like the stability of it, you know what I mean? So yeah, probably gonna see what the schedule for my friends are. This week I'm gonna go talk to Marcolini about like go over the design a bit more, and gonna talk about like probably what methods to use for waterproofing the shed. And I think that I can possibly make the yard less slanted and actually make it kind of more straight and easier to mow. So that'd be pretty good. Thank you very much for all the help, and I am gonna look up a bit more about this. Yeah. It's a big thing to build a building for the first time, because like the other ones I've built, they're just wood. Like this is actually like a legitimate basement, and I have to take down the clothesline. Might as well remove the clothesline poles. I can use the excavator for that, I guess. I'm just trying to think. Make sure I've thought of everything, and I'm not sure of the time frame. Like definitely before summer's over. But I don't know. Oh, and by the way, I ordered the regulators for the rocket project, so that's a little, yeah. So any help counts, please. Even if you send me something that I can try to sell in the third stream market, that helps too. But yeah, it's a real shame, because like I would have had like 3,500 square feet for $10,000, but with this I have to spend like $5,000 for 250 square feet. It's like, I don't believe in regrets normally, but I do now. Oh well. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little update, and I'm sorry I couldn't get that other building, but I hope that I can get this other building made, and I don't know, because it's hard to tell. Like all my stuff is rotting in the storage units. My player piano is just covered in mold, and my arcade machines are molding up because I do not have a healthy long-term storage solution for them. So the arcade machines are going to go in there, but I think 12 feet by 12 feet, or let's just say 11 feet by 11 feet. That's the size of my bedroom. It's still pretty big, and I think I could definitely do some good stuff with that, especially because it'll be climate controlled, have a basement for storage, and just be a good learning experience, you know. And then because of this, if I can, I'm going to see about maybe making a basement on the other shed. So if I build that big one someday. Oh, and by the way, so Griff, who I make the barrel boats with, as like payment, I'm going to help him make his own shed, because his grandmother owns like 4 extra lots, and so I'm going to help him make one. And so that one we're actually going to probably make bigger. Maybe not with the basement, but we're going to make it bigger. So we're going to have stepping stones. And so there's probably going to be this little shed, and then like a 15 by 18 foot shed. Whoa! June bug or something. And we're going to have that, and then we can move on even further to having that 18 foot by 30 foot or 27 foot or whatever. Maybe even give it a basement. But those are just kind of lofty goals, I guess. But I think this 12 footer would be I think I can do that, especially because I have like 4 people to help me, and I've decided just to go ahead and I'll have the foundation professionally laid, because like I'm fine with learning how to do the brickwork. I wanted to learn how to do the brickwork, but I want to make sure I'm doing it on a good foundation, you know what I mean? So yeah, and I'll probably put like several layers of plastic, just like plastic sheeting everywhere, just to help stop any moisture from coming in. Well, that's pretty much it. There's a train coming, so it's a good point to stop. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. See ya.